Canaveral's Community Appearance Board meeting of January 19th, 2022. Patty, please call the roll.
Mr. Wasserman,
Here.
Mr. Nienstadt,
Here.
Ms. Coudrier,
Here.
Ms. Trulock,
Here.
Ms. Whitehead.
Here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patty. We have a full board this evening. I want to wish everyone a warm welcome to 2022. I hope everyone had a healthy and safe holidays, and wishing everyone present healthy and safe 2022. I know it hasn't started in a way that we necessarily envisioned, but I'm really grateful we're still all able to come together and do the important work we do. So, and I do want to also thank our sheriff's deputy for being present. Thank you, sir, for your service and being present here this evening. Just a couple items on the agenda for this evening. As usual, we've got the approval of the meeting minutes from the previous meeting, right before the holidays, November 17th of 2021. Members present had a chance to read the minutes.
Yes. I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes from the November 21st, 2021 meeting. It's been seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the meeting minutes are passed. And then the next up, we have an application, or I guess it's a renewal application for a hotel up the road towards the north end of the city. Mr. Zach, would you care to present the staff report?
Sure. Patty, if you just want to advance to the next slide. One more slide, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so yes, as you said, this is a reapplication actually. This item was presented to CAB in September of 2020. However, due to permitting delays, the level 2 approval lapsed 1 year or over 1 year, and a new application has been submitted. The project consists of the new construction of a Hyatt Place hotel located at 9009 Astronaut Boulevard, just east of the existing Country Inn and Suites. The application includes a request for review and approval of level 2 application consistent with section 22-44 of the Cape Canaveral Code of Ordinances, and a review and approval of increased building height consistent with section 110-624 of the Cape Canaveral Code of Ordinance. You can see on the slide here an aerial view of the property. And Patty, if you just want to advance one more slide. Thank you. This is another aerial view from a drone, just showing where the building will be. Patty, if you want to advance one more slide, just want to show through these photos. And one more, please. Cool. The project includes a single 6-story structure on a parcel of 7.17 acres total. That is zone C1. The proposed structure is 65 feet in height and includes 150 rooms, a pool, and associated surface parking. You can see a rendering of the building here. Pedestrian walkways are shown to the east and north of the building that provide access to the sidewalk along Astronaut Boulevard, State Road A1A. Parking and landscaping areas are indicated on the site plan, which is attachment 3, and will be reviewed, of course, to be in conformance to city code during the site plan approval process. There's a dumpster, which is indicated in the extreme northwest area of the property, away from the primary pedestrian and vehicular routes. High traffic activity areas, pool loading and unloading areas, and front desk of the site are not located near any residential properties as well. Patty, if you want to advance again. Thank you. The property is surrounded by commercial to the west, east, and south, Country Inn and Suites, Purcell's Distributors, Homewood Suites, Hertz Rental Car, and the Residence Inn, respectively. And a natural wetland area is to the north. Zoning surrounding the property is mixed with commercial C1 to the east and southeast, and high-density residential R3 to the west and southwest. And again, the structure's proposed height is 65 feet. Next slide, please. As indicated in the attached renderings, the building incorporates several techniques to reduce the bulk of the building. These techniques are required on all building sites that front a public roadway. The east elevation of the building has incorporated a portiere, expressed horizontal building articulations, indentations, and an eastern facing stylized projection running north to south that serve to reduce breakup and bulk of the building. Staff is at this time recommending approval of the level 2 application for the Hyatt Place project and approve the request to build the proposed structure to a height of 65 feet. We also do have the applicant here if they would like to speak, or if you would like them to speak about the project as well. But that's all I have.
Thank you. I appreciate the full report. And just for clarification, we're evaluating this application both for the height as well as for the structure and appearance, correct, right? Okay. All right. I'd like to give any of the applicants or applicants' representatives a chance to provide additional information, if you'd like. Please, sir, just state your name for the record.
Mike Allen with Allen Engineering, representing the ownership group.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Happy New Year, and thank you for coming together tonight. You've seen this before. We unfortunately, let the approval expire about the time the ownership group decided to start the project back up. They put it on hold after the original approval just because of the COVID situation and everything else going on. So they were anxious to get it started back up here, and we were quickly reminded that we needed to come back before you. So no real changes. It's the same thing that's been approved before, so we're just re-seeking approval again.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is there anything really different from this application compared to the one we reviewed in September of 2020?
There may be some changes as we start going through the site plan, process. But in order to get there, we have to
Right,
get
all right.
through you first.
Yep. And in overall appearance, it looks to me very similar, identical to what we looked at in September. So, I don't have any additional questions. I'd like to open up any questions the board members might have for Mr. Allen or for Zach.
I have a question about the 6 stories. The Comfort Inn is 4, and the Marriott residential right next door is also 4. And so this is going to be kind of in front of the Comfort Inn, is that correct?
That is correct.
And so it's going to be 6 stories?
Yes, in order to reduce the front footprint of the building and still meet the requirement for 150 rooms, we're asking for additional building height to accommodate that.
And if I could add a little bit of more information, just, because I've been on the board for quite some time, the allowance to build higher, up to 60 feet or so, is a fairly recent development within the city. Previously, I think they were, maximum height was like right about 50 feet off, and that goes off of the crown of A1A. So, when the city did a big visioning project about 10 years ago, and looked to kind of, change the kind of appearance of the city, especially as folks come in from Highway A1A, from the port area. The economic overlay kind of district was created, and that allowed for, higher structures, but ones that are more pedestrian friendly, have kind of greater articulation. So I believe those 2 other properties you referenced were built at a time when that was the highest they could build to. So just a little point of reference there too for you. So. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach and Patty. Sorry.
I wanted to also talk about the height issue. I don't have any questions, but I've mentioned this in the past that when we've done surveys before, residents have said they really don't want any more high-rise hotels, and we keep approving them. And it seems to me that we should maybe approve them if they're at the 45-foot, but really seriously consider that extra variance thing and see if that's something that's good for the community. I'd be much more willing to approve, a height variance for something that was like additional residences or an old age home or something like that. We have so many hotels, and it's not something that the residents really want. And people complain to me and say, why are we building more hotels? And I understand it's zoned for that. So what we should do, in my opinion, is allow it up to 45 feet. And if there's extenuating circumstances or something that's especially helpful for the community, then allow a variance. That's just my opinion, and I don't have any questions. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of I know you're using the term variance, and that's actually more like a, Board of Adjustment type thing. when you
Right,
actually-
yeah.
That involves kind of in terms of the administration of, the code and the, the zoning, that is a kind of a higher order. But I understand what you're saying. You'd like to maybe, you're talking about kind of a greater threshold to reach, the additional
The maximum height,
allowance.
right, that's right.
I know it gets tricky though, because use becomes and of course, as a community appearance board, we really cannot judge an application based upon its intended use. Whether it looks just exactly the same as what the rendering shows here, if it's a hotel or if it's affordable housing or, long-term care. We cannot judge an application based on its intended purpose. We have to, that's more for planning and zoning.
Right.
But I understand, certainly hearing input from the community, from a larger perspective with regard to the height.
Well, certainly 45 feet looks better than 65 feet.
May I-
To me.
Perhaps.
to-
Agreed, but with that 45-foot height and the required minimum rooms of 150, it spreads things out. So there's a balance that the city has created, allowing developers to go up a little bit, but with increased setback, increased landscaping requirements to kind of offset the horizontal spread of.
The bulk, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
The
kind of a
bulk,
big factor, kind of to put in layman's terms. If you built a 45-foot square block or rectangular building, you might be able to fit 150 rooms in there. But again, because we're trying to kind of get a more articulated look, within our commercial district and thoroughfare, those buildings shall not be those kind of block, just monolithic buildings. They have to, be kind of more terraced and get, generally, if you look at some of them, they get narrower as they go up. So that kind of takes away that kind of square footage, cubic footage that could be used for rooms. And then so to make it economically feasible, from what I understand, I'm not involved in this business, but, that additional height allowance helps make it more economically feasible to develop a hotel compared to a square building at 45 feet.
I just don't feel like we need to facilitate making it easier for the developers to build something that the residents don't necessarily want.
Well, am I able to say something?
Yeah, please.
I agree with what you're saying. It was told to me, by the time we get anything here, it's already been approved. It's been through everything. It meets the criteria and so forth. And that, so we're basically more given our blessing as far as, the aesthetics of the building and so forth and how it's situated. And I was also told that we're just about at our max on any more hotels going up anywhere in that little corridor there. So it's very frustrating to come here and to see, a project like yours, which is really not don't have any authority not to vote to have it on that because they went up because it's right within the rules and the regulations. Am I not correct? All that's already basically been done. Whenever I read anything, it's cities approved, they meet the criteria, And then I also understand that because of how you want to make it architectural pleasing and nice to look at, and all the landscaping, which really makes a big deal as far as what it looks like, and the signage and so forth, is what we need to make sure is attractive and nice to look at in our city. I think we have a lot of hotels as well. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, I guess the time to do that would be when it's in the planning stages and as a citizen go and maybe a grassroots,
Well, then why
whatever.
are we here? We could certainly vote on whether we find it aesthetically pleasing or not.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the appearance board. Do you find a 65-foot building aesthetically pleasing, no matter how it's disguised or what small shrubbery they put in front of it? I mean, I do not personally.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Well, I kind of to touch on a couple of things, and you're all bringing up very
Mm-hmm.
good topics. I do believe the planning and zoning is subsequent to the community board appearance, right? Correct, Zach? So, we're actually, I think, towards the beginning of that, and, kind of ensuring that it's harmonious and fits in with existing structures. So, yeah, there are some existing structures that are, at this height, the one across the street, the ones, I think, a little bit west of the Zachary's Diner. But really kind of what the binding factor is, and I think what you're maybe getting to the heart of is, how is the zoning worked here? And that's what planning and zoning looks at. So, I think in a commercial zoning area, unless there's a variance pursued to the Board of Adjustments, the, development within that zone should be commercial. So it kind of comes down to being involved with how the city develops zoning. And, that is, I think, a kind of iterative process and, is one that citizens can be part of. But that kind of, that zoning there kind of ties directly to the intended use of development, So if you have a commercially zoned section and you want to buy it and you want to build a nice mansion there, well, you can put an application for it. It might look great for the community appearance board, but planning and zoning might be, no, it's not the intended purpose for that parcel. So that's kind of part of the issue a little bit. And, I understand the kind of concern with the height, and I'll just say I've seen some 65-foot buildings that look a lot better than 40-foot buildings, especially if you look at some of the older ones in the city. So it's kind of a subjective call. I certainly understand that too.
I have a question. Is this going to be in the parking lot that's currently at Comfort Inn? It is. It is? Okay, so my question is, you're going to have a 6-story hotel in front of and blocking a 4-story hotel, correct? Correct. I see, I have a problem with that.
May I ask why?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same ownership group that owns.
I know it's all Marriott, yeah,
No, I mean, it's the same property owners. that-
same property, yeah.
that owns those projects.
No, I just, coming into Cape Canaveral off of 528, to see, the 6-foot or the 6-story hotel, and one behind it that's gonna be hidden. Right? It's gonna kind of be hidden.
You'll be able to see both of them coming over the overpass.
Yeah, I think the other one's a Country Inn and Suites, correct?
It is a
Yeah.
Country Inn and Suites. So, yeah, and I know there's I think there's 3 hotels immediately across the street that are, kind of maybe not as close to each other in proximity, but I think, one of them is kind of
In the back,
in the back.
yes.
Yeah.
I
so,
do know, I'm familiar with all the hotels, yes.
If I was in the Country Inn and Suites, I'd prefer to look at the river than another hotel or A1A, but that's just me. But, okay, well, I definitely appreciate the comments and the inputs. Is there any additional questions for Mr. Allen? Okay. Well, I know, I appreciate you providing all those additional details to us,
Please
Mr.
understand
Allen.
that there's been a lot of time and effort put into this. We meet code. We wouldn't be here before you presenting if we didn't meet code. We would be going to the Board of Adjustment to ask for a variance if we did not. So we're asking for your blessing for something that's in the code.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand, and yeah, and I know this application was, here last, well, not last year, but, a little more than 12 months ago, 16 months ago, so. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve, or reapprove the application for the hotel development there at that parcel, including the 65-foot allowance.
Second that?
Okay. We have a motion to approve the application. It's been seconded. Any additional questions, comments from the board members? Any additional questions, comments from anyone else present? Patty, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Wasserman,
4.
Mr. Nienstadt,
Four.
Ms. Coudrier,
Or,
Ms. Trulock, Ms. Whitehead.
Against.
Thank you, Pat, I appreciate it.
Sure.
That motion passes. Thank you, I appreciate your time this evening, and good luck on your project.
Thank you.
All right, Zach, what else is going on?
That is all we have for tonight.
All
But
right.
I would encourage all of you to take part in the city's revisioning process, which is going on right now. We just completed our first workshop virtually last Thursday. It was really good. We had an audience about, I want to say about 50 people. It lasted for 4 hours, so everybody literally went down the line and was heard. Comments about what they want to see, what they don't want to see. Hotels came up, and I think it's important that if people feel a certain way, make the council known. I, as a staff member here, can't really budge from our rules, obviously, and I have to go along with them, and everything is in compliance. But I understand as a resident, it's not something everybody wants to see. So I encourage you to do that, because the more that people do that, council hears that, and that's how it therefore comes back to us as staff to make changes that the community wants to see. So talk to them and make your voices heard. But the next workshop for the revisioning is in February, and there's a third one after that in March.
do you know the date in
Is there
February?
a date and place set for that?
Patty, do we
February
have?
9th,
I'm sorry.
it's February 9th for the second one, right?
Yeah, let me
That's the-
confirm that.
That's the one at the Radisson. The third one is to be determined. I don't remember the date in March, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that one might have been.
That,
Was, I think, to be determined.
yeah,
But we're scheduled for 3, and then
absolutely.
let me just February 9th. Yes, February 9th, Radisson Resort, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then I was also going to say another big community input moment, I would say, is the strategic planning retreat on March 30th. That's open to the public. That's an all-day event where the council goes through their list of priorities for. It's pretty broad in time. They do short and long-term initiatives that they want to see done. You're welcome to participate and watch the proceedings. Staff gives presentations about the latest and greatest in projects that we'll be doing. I'm there from mainly the sustainability sense, but Brenda will be there from a planning sense and giving presentations and whatnot. So that's another big one to come and kind of be heard. But that's all I just want to say, that if there's some big opportunities coming to hear, to be heard. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, please do so.
Yeah, thanks for making us all aware of that.
Thank you.
I should know that, but I wasn't aware that
It's
we were
okay.
already into our.
We have a lot of events in the first quarter, and they're all shifting from COVID. So
Yeah, yeah. Is there going to be any kind of a minutes or any kind of a report from the first visioning session, or is it just more like kind of each one stands alone?
it was recorded.
Okay,
It
okay.
was 4 hours long, exactly. But each event is not really separate from each other. They're all just kind of be the same, a chance to be heard.
Oh, I
answer
see.
A series
Okay.
of questions. They might be changed a little based on input from each prior one.
Previous one.
But they're all structurally designed to be kind of the same. There's also a community survey out that accompanies this. I would encourage you to take that. There's 11 questions on it. Some of them are very.
I did.
Have you taken it? Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, tell everybody to take it. The more responses,
Didn't that close
I
already?
think it closed, or it was
Did it?
supposed to,
Yeah.
yesterday, or the
Yeah.
day, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think they close on January 17th.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Happened yesterday.
But
2 days ago.
but those same questions will be at each workshop, revisioning workshop. So
Okay. All righty, well, thanks. So no other significant development, like parcels or anything coming on the pike in terms of,
I'm not aware of any.
okay, all right, appreciate it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Actually, not to beat a dead horse, but to come to further what he was saying, we have done these surveys for years and years. I've lived here for 22 years. Every survey, people say, we don't want any more hotels. We don't want any more gas stations. Yet every time, these are always recommended we approve by the the people who work here, whoever puts these things together. And it seems to me that the citizens have spoken, but they have not been heard. And it seems to me like it's maybe our job to represent those people and to say, okay, we'll allow you to build whatever you want to build that you're permitted to already. You know, we're not going to take away your building rights, but we're not going to grant you any extra unless it's of benefit to the residents. But we never do that.
Well, I guess you're talking we as in the big we, because again, as a
Yeah.
board here, we really can't determine, we can't weigh or judge an application based upon its intended use. Again,
We can judge it about its appearance.
yes.
Who can argue that that's unattractive? Look at a 6-foot building, I mean, 6-story building. And those big bright lights they put along, things they don't even mention how awful it's going to look once it's up there, and then it's too late.
I know, I mean, this is why we have a diverse and broad board.
Yeah.
I would personally argue that, I don't categorically regard all 6-story buildings as not appealing. I don't.
Okay. Oh, well, then I guess we differ, because I mean, I can certainly see how you can make a 6-foot building more attractive than an ugly,
Did I say
story.
6 foot?
No, I did. I keep saying that. But usually you can make a more attractive 4-story building than a 6 one, especially when you're coming in from that. It's the first thing you see when you hit Cape Canaveral. The ones we have built that have gone through this process are not attractive, in my opinion. But maybe I have a different aesthetic sense, yeah.
Yeah, well, I know, the original visioning and the, economic overlay district did intend to kind of do away with, the parking lot is in front of the building and it's not pedestrian friendly. You gotta, weren't even sidewalks across. You couldn't even
Nobody
take a
walks
sidewalk
there.
all the way
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
Remember the days where you couldn't even take a sidewalk all the way
I
up
do.
to the top of the
Yeah.
city? So, there was a real concentrated effort to make things a little more pedestrian friendly, and the hopes were that, we'd have more mixed use. There was a lot of the mixed use.
That would be
talked
lovely.
about.
So allow those to be 6 feet.
Oh, they are.
I mean, 6
They are.
stories,
They
yeah,
are.
yeah.
They are allowed to be six stories in the
But
economic
no one
overlay
will
district.
no one comes in front of us because they make more money off of the 6-story hotels.
Well, economics drives development, right?
Right, but we can mold that by saying, well, we'll approve it if it's something that is useful for the community.
But then again, you're kind of crossing over into the intended use,
So
You're
the
right.
planning people should be saying no. Who should be saying, yeah?
I'm just saying, from a community appearance board perspective, you're on a slippery slope if you'll say, I approve that building as a residential building, but I will not approve it as a hotel.
But you can make,
Or a mixed-use building.
right,
See, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
We really can't, we have to be careful that we, stay within the boundaries that is established in our charter by the city council.
I have no ethical problem saying that I am opposed to the appearance of a 6-story hotel, yeah. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also think that the new one that's not completed in back of Zachary's is very, very intrusive. And I know that personally, I live right there. So I have this thing, this is what I stare at every day, is this 6-story hotel. And I was able at one point to see all the ships, and now I cannot. So, I mean, there really is, I find it, like I said, very intrusive. I see that 6-story, I'm like, why did they have to go that high?
Yeah, who is in charge of stopping this if it's not us?
Well, that's, I think, just getting
That would
involved
be-
in
That would have to come from council.
in the visioning. I mean, if,
But the rule is there. The rule says they're only allowed to do 45 unless we approve. So why are we just rubber stamping these things? Why is it always, I recommend approval? We always recommend, every single thing that comes before us, we always recommend approval.
Well, as long as it's in compliance, which it is, there's nothing I can do to
Well,
stop
Well,
it.
can I say something? Okay, so for instance, if it had been 3-2-4, it was 3-2 against, say it was against, then they will simply go back and ask, what will they do? what would this Hilton, it's a Hilton, right?
It's Hyatt.
Hyatt,
I
Hyatt,
believe an
okay.
applicant can appeal to the city council.
Exactly, and so therefore, it's the voting booth, and it's, I guess, showing up at, and also, and, I mean, I can say, I think we have way too many hotels, and I think they could have been more cohesive, been connected, lighted paths. I mean, it could just, I have a vision that it could be just aesthetically so cool as you come down over that hill and enter the city of Cape Canaveral. I mean, it's just in my head, and what they're doing is not, but since we already have that, if we can somehow come together at this visionary thing or strategic planning and make it better, what's there, build on that and make it better. But I mean, I agree with you ladies. I do. I've always said that, and that's when I had a conversation with, some people, and this is, I thought, the last one.
It's not the last
It's not?
one, no.
Okay, so
It's actually
therefore,
first, I think. Are we first after it goes through the planning department?
no, I mean the last hotel.
Oh, the last one, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No,
I doubt that's true. And I've heard that for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's,
Okay, well, so I mean, I agree with you on that. I just,
but
and
we need
since
to make a stand then, rather than just constantly rubber stamp what's going through.
Well, in this case, one reason that I did, and we probably should close this, as far as everybody promised to get home, is it had already been approved, and all the work and the planning and everything that they have done, I just felt it was, I did not think that it was gonna look any worse than a 4-story building. I think that it'll look very, very nice when they're done with the landscaping and so forth. It's not, and so and they can't do it with 4 stories and meet what the city wants to do. That's why they had to go up to put all the landscaping in, all the lighting, make it look beautiful, and the parking and everything. Is that correct? That's what you were saying, that in order to get the 150 room minimum that they need, they had to go up to meet all the other requirements that the city wanted.
Well, they have to have a landscaping plan.
Right,
And
exactly,
They have to
so
have
that it looks-
articulation built into the structure.
Right.
Which oftentimes
Right.
affects
So, I mean, if
the
it was a
volume.
4-story building, it would still be blocking the other 4-story building. So I didn't think that was anything really in question as far as what other things they were gonna do to make it look nice. So, therefore, and, we had already, done that. I mean, I didn't really hope y'all don't think I was selling out.
No,
because that
totally
wasn't
not,
fun.
totally not. I just think that it's unfortunate that you thought that our vote doesn't matter at all, because that's not true.
Well, I think that it
Yeah.
does, but I do know that since it's, like you were saying, it says meet the requirements, the city says, oh, go ahead forward, it's okay. So therefore, that's what I really felt. because I think
But
that
it goes to people after us. We're not the.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But then if we did, then they would go on to go before city council and so forth.
Yeah.
And more than likely, unless you got a lot of citizens together and, made a lot of noise and stuff, it would just go ahead and go through anyway, just prolonging it. But, you're on record for saying no, so there you go.
Yeah,
So that's important because, our vote is important.
It
but
is, it
I
is.
just, so.
And I just want to kind of make sure all the board members understand too, that it's definitely, we're appointed by the city council, each one of us, so, we are empowered to vote as we wish to vote. But I believe, if an application if we get an application that does not pass, it fails, it's voted down, are the members, I'm trying to remember, are the members incumbent, do they have to provide an explanation as to why they did not vote or why the way they voted? I thought I remember something about that. I'm looking at you, Patty, sorry if you don't know the answer.
I was gonna say,
I
I'm
You
not
don't know
sure
either?
honestly, but I can-
Okay, that might be a good bit of homework, just so we understand, because, I recall that being a factor, because believe it or not, in my 16 years serving on this board, there have been applications that have not passed.
The only one I ever remember was like a mural that hasn't passed. A mural.
Yep.
That was the only thing I can ever remember not passing.
Okay. Yeah, there's been others. It's been a while, largely actually due to planning department.
Right, the hard work
Being
they
very,
put
very
in. Yeah,
proactive.
they do a great job, yeah, weeding through and only putting the ones up that are worthwhile.
Working
Yeah,
issues.
I just want to say one other thing. Now, this is all commercial and so forth, but like, we're builders. And my son built a house here. And he just wanted a little bit, like, they, residential. And designed a beautiful home, just a little bit. And, geez, no, they were not gonna budge. So I think to me, they're harder on residential people, and that's just not the first one that said that, than they are on commercial. And here he was building a beautiful home in Cape Canaveral. And it just, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, I guess that's, it's so hard to know, and I know we have websites and so forth to know, and to get at those meetings and to have your voice heard and so forth. One reason I'm on this advisory board is because I was coming through Cape Canaveral Wednesday or whenever it was, and the big deal was going on the gas station, another gas station. And I go, ooh, that sounds really interesting. I said, I want another gas station here. So I unpacked and went back to the meeting, and I was so impressed by the people that turned out and what they got up and said, and it was voted down. There was not gonna be another gas station, because we're trying to get people to stop here, not just have it be a, pass-through, type thing, like pass through Cape Canaveral when you're on to, somewhere else. So I was very impressed, and that's why I wanted to serve, because I thought it was a very proactive community, and a community that, people really, did care about what was going on.
And if I recall too, gas stations are one of those uses that actually have to have a special exception.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good.
That's a
thing.
standing special exception.
To Jalinda's point, like, as far as I understand it, there can be really no more gas stations built in the city based on the way it was written.
Yeah.
So
So we were there to try to make it but they wanted to have it go, but they made it known that no way, so that I was very impressed.
Very, very good dialogue.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, no, it's important.
I was listening too.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Bob was taking notes. Give a full report.
Something like that, yeah.
I will take your comments back to David, Dickey, and Brenda. I won't. It won't go unheard.
Thank you.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, and do please let me know if there's anything, if it's a figment of my imagination or memory with regard to if something's voted down, what as members do we have individual responsibilities for with regard to how we voted?
Okay.
I'd like to kind of make sure we all understand that, if there is any such thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, well, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.